What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I thought I would do a little bit of a beat breakdown on the channel. Recently, I had uploaded a track on SoundCloud that was a cover of Can't Get Over You by Joji, and I really liked that track. When I first listened to it, it's kind of weird, but then I kind of got more into it as I listened to it, and I decided to remake it on Logic Pro. And I kind of want to start making this a series where I just kind of remake songs on Logic's version, because I don't think this song was made on Logic. But it's as close as I could get to the real so I kind of wanted to show you guys how I did that, kind of break it down if you guys want to try and do it yourself. You could just get the instrumental off YouTube. You probably also get a copyright claim if you tried to upload it. But why not just make your own? And this is how I did mine. So I'm going to take you through the process of that. No plugins either. This is all stock Logic sounds that I was able to use to remake this bop. So let's jump into it. Let's break it down. Alright, music fam, let's go ahead and get into this really quick. So as you can see, I have the layout right here of the track, and as you can see, I have 13 different tracks here for this one song. And of course, what you have to start off with is the drums, of course, because that's the essential part of the song. That's how the song starts, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and mute the vocal tracks really quick and just give you a touch of how the instrumental works just for a second. So that repeats pretty much through the entire song. The drums stay the same until there's one part of the bridge where there's just a kick and snare. But pretty much the drums are the same throughout the entire thing. So what I did for that basically is I just used, first thing I did was for the kick, I did the Inst 1, which you can do. You just go, when you add a new track, you go to software instrument, and that should be the default thing that comes up when you start making tracks. So I just have the kick here, did a little bit of EQ on it just to make it a little more punchier, so you can hear it a little better. And then here we have the snare, which I just use a Boutique 78, which is just a stock sound that you can, obviously, all these are stock sounds that you can find on Logic already. So you just go there and use the snare on the Boutique 78. And then for hi-hats, I use this, which is the closest to kind of what it sounded like when it started. That's also a Boutique 78 stock sound that you can use as well. And then there's this one part where there's kind of like a woodblock sound, and I used the trapdoor stock drum effect just to add that part in. And for that, I really basically just went and put some reverb on it and turned the drive up a little bit, just to give it a little more like pop. And then I couldn't find the exact sound, like it didn't sound exactly like the original song in terms of the melody part, so I used a rain harp on this part, and I just looked up the chords on YouTube, and you can just do that yourself and just play those on. I have a MIDI keyboard plugged in that I just recorded these over. And I'll just bring that up, actually. You can do that, or you can draw the chords in as always, but I actually play piano, so I was able to just play them on the piano. Yeah, and then that whole part repeats the entire song, does not change at all. That just, when it comes down to arranging, you're just going to figure out where it comes in and where it comes out, which is literally one time. When it drops out before the pre-chorus. Okay, so then moving on to the bass. The bass was actually the hardest part of the song to figure out, because I had to listen to the song a lot to try and figure out the bass line, and it's kind of hard to hear a bass line when you're listening to a song, so you have to pay very close attention to the movements and stuff. But for the most part, I think I got it right. I really just kind of ended up looping some of the same bass lines. I don't know if it really changed that much. It sounds pretty much the same. And for this one I used subby bass, also stock sound in Logic. Yeah, so that pretty much stays the same throughout the entire track in terms of the bass line. And I have these, I don't really have these split for a reason. I kind of just ended up making two separate tracks just to not have the same thing looping constantly. So that's where it goes with the instrumental. And in terms of vocal effects, I also didn't really get that much into it. I couldn't get the exact vocal sound that I wanted, but I ended up using telephone vocal on Logic to kind of make the sound effects. And I ended up I did a falsetto track, and then I also did like a tenor track underneath, so my high and low voice kind of just blended that together. And it makes it a little more colorful, I guess, more vibrant, instead of just having that one. Also, I did, for this, I threw a little pitch correction on there, and that's just the key, the standard like key that you would be in for this song for pitch correction. And because he does use pitch correction, but it's not as obvious, and you can actually change the response time so to make it, like Travis Scott level, which is like 0, and then you just want to get like standard like pop artist level, you go like 48.7 on pitch correction. So yeah, so we'll just play, I guess, the vocal part itself, and then we'll blend it with the song.
I can't get over you, can't get over you, and before I die I pray that I could be the one, that I could be the one, 'cause I won't be no fun if I can't have you, no one can balance.
And that basically, that's just the same throughout. And then the only part where it changes is where it gets to the real like melody part, and then there's a few ad-libs in there and a few harmonies. I added a harmony in it just to give it a little more substance, just because my voice isn't like Joji's, so like I didn't feel comfortable isolating it like that. But this part, that's just a little ad-lib.
I got a box cutter with your name on it. Tell me more, I can't stay this long on the same topic. Don't know you, but would I fall in love with you? I don't have no social cues, I'm all for you.
There's a little, yeah, and that's where it kind of gets into the bridge there. So that's the main vocal part, basically, just telephone vocal effect on each track that you want to use there. And you want to mainly keep it falsetto as your main lead vocal, because that's where he's in the falsetto range. So your higher pitch, you don't want to be like super low, because then it could also be drowned out by the instrumental. So you want to kind of make it a little more distinct. And then the next part that changes after all the main stuff is where it gets to the bridge part that lasts about like 10 seconds, I think, and that's just this part. Yeah, so that just is kick, just standard like 8th note, whatever note, standard kick for that part for about 10 seconds or so, and then it gets right back into the melody, and you just, as you can see, I just kind of looped most of the same melodies, and then added, little effects there. There's a part in the main, in like the next verse, where he has like a little clap that I just used the trapdoor for. So like that, just standard stuff right there. So it's basically, you really just have to kind of dissect the original song yourself, kind of figure out where it's going and what kind of instruments he's using. So in total, not including vocal, I had about 9 separate tracks, and that's just for each individual part of the drum kit, and then we have the melody and little effects there, here and there, and then just the bass line. So you could have 8 probably tracks just if you keep the same bass track. Went ahead and looped all that, and then we just kind of have the outro. Yeah, so that's pretty much the song itself is literally like 1 minute 40 seconds. So there's like, it's mostly chorus, and then there's a small verse, and then a little bridge / chorus, for that part. So you can make this yourself using stock sounds. There's no need to get like Splice or samples.com or whatever the fuck to get any plugins or sample sounds, really. There's a lot of stuff on Logic that you can just kind of use yourself. But yeah, this was Can't Get Over You by Joji. Okay guys, if you like this video and you like me, remaking other songs on Logic Pro, leave me a comment. Let me know if there's another song you guys would like me to try and remake on Logic. I kind of like doing it more than I, kind of like making my own stuff. It's really weird. I just think it's kind of fun to try and do. But if you guys want to see other songs, just leave a comment on what songs I should do, or just tell me that you want to see more, and I'll come up with another song that I can remake. I think I have a few that I worked on a while ago that I could do. But anyway, social media is linked below. SoundCloud is linked below. Spotify is linked below. Follow me on all those. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back whenever. We'll see. But thank you. Adios, amigos.